All of you check the recording permission. We created the user profiles. We assigned user roles, right? We assigned dynamic user roles and the role-based access. These two we had done the last time. And we also had seen the candidate config, right? We had seen the basic configurations, right? Like how to set up the message of the day, how to set up like the basic stuffs and all we had seen. Okay, so today we are going to configure the zones. Like we'll configure all the interfaces, like data interfaces. We'll allocate all these devices and we'll get the access. Okay, so today's agenda is we'll create the object of IP address. Okay, you can note it down. We'll create a zone. We'll create a custom virtual router with the name of custom RTR. We'll create the interface management profile to allow ICMP. We'll configure L3 interfaces like L3 interfaces like E1/1 for the LAN, E1/2 for the DMZ, E1/3 for the WAN. Attach a zone, custom router, and ICMP interface management profile respectively. Okay, and we'll also check the connectivity. So these are the basic things that we are, I mean, like the first step of your lab that we are going to set up. So quickly take the note of this agenda. If we have time, then we will move to the lab 3. Okay, this is lab 2, slide number 2. Done, all of you? Write it down from video. You guys take a note of this topology quickly. Take a screenshot quickly. No need to waste time. You have, right? Okay. Okay. Then you guys want to write this one, right? Okay. Complete it quickly. You guys will tell me the steps, like what we are going to do. Okay. And also, I have already explained about all these steps. You understand? So you will also tell me, like, why do we need this or that? Okay. So let's get started. We'll get an access to the firewall. Tell me what is the IP address of the interface, management interface. It's 103.0.0.254. Okay, I got the access. Log in with the admin. and the password capital A, small b, 1 2 3 4 5. So what is the first step that we need to do? We'll create an object, right? So let's see. To create an object, we need to come under the object tab and see these all are the things that you can create the object for. Okay. So right now we are going to create an object for the IP addresses. So according to our topology, what is the LAN interface IP? I would say LAN IP. Before I go for LAN configuration or anything else, okay, we'll see one more thing, include one more thing, tag. Write the 7th step, create a tag, TAG tag, okay. So let's see, we'll create a tag first, okay. I'll put the tag as a first. I'll create a tag for the LAN zone. Which type of color would you like to keep for LAN zone? Let's say we'll put it as a green color, okay. Now both look same. Let's put some other, let's put blue for the LAN. We have a WAN zone, right? Tagging is nothing but it's a color, okay. So outside, let it put as a red, danger. And let's take DMZ zone. We'll make it as a orange, or let's make it yellow. So 3 different colors we have taken. We have given the name as a LAN, WAN, and DMZ, right? This will help you to give a tag, to put a color in the policies, okay. Let's come back to the address. So I created the object for tags. I created the object for addresses, okay. I'm going to create the object. So I would say here LAN. When you say LAN and come here, can you see the tag? So I'll take a tag of LAN, okay, and I would say 10.11.11.10/24, right? Okay. So I created one object. Can you see the tag has been assigned? So whenever you see the color as a blue, you need to understand it's a LAN, okay. So I need to assign WAN. What is the IP address of the WAN interface, guys? Someone quickly answer me. Hey, online guys, I need an answer from you. What is the interface IP address at the WAN and DMZ? Yeah, you guys tell me. 172.16.3.48/24. We'll put the tag of WAN. Okay. We'll create another object for DMZ. What is the IP address? No one replying from
192.168.30.10.
correct. 192.168.30.10/24. Correct. I'll give the tag as a DMZ. Okay, so we created the tag, we created the object. Okay, basically under the objects we created 2 things. Okay, the tag and the addresses. Now what is the next step that we need to configure? L3 zones. Okay. This is object based firewall. Okay, see, directly if you are going to assign the IP or also, right, there also you have to create the object only. It's not like you cannot directly go and assign the IP. You can. Means when you go and assign the IP address directly, you have to go through the object process only. So basically you are creating the object and you are assigning it to the interface indirectly. Okay. Okay, let's say for example, see here, you're going to the interface, right? This is E1/1 interface. And here, if I go to the, if I select type of interface, it's a L3 interface, right? And what do I need to select over here? IPv4 address. Now, do you see? I need to go for the address. It's not like directly you can write 10.11.11.10. Okay. If you do this way, basically it will be creating an object only. So you have to do it in an object way. What you have to do is, you have to add, when you say add, can you see there is a new written as an address? And when you're creating an address over here, it's basically creating answer inside the object itself. Now, this is object-based firewall, okay? So you have to do it based on the object. Now, we'll go and create the zones. We'll create a L3 zones. So we have LAN zone, right? Earlier, what we created was the IP address for the zones. Now this is a particular zone. What type of zone we are going to create? L3 zone. Say okay. LAN zone. It's a WAN zone. Type L3. And we'll create a DMZ zone. Type L3. We created 3 different zones over here. Now, what we need to create next? Custom virtual router. What is virtual router? It's a virtual routing table assigning to the interfaces, right? Okay, come to the virtual router. We can see we have a default virtual router, right? With the name of default. I can use that, but I want to create the custom one. So I would say custom underscore RTR router. I would say okay. I created the custom virtual router. Now next, what we need to create? Interface management profile, right? Okay, here can you see under the network we created zones. Under the network we created virtual router. Now I'm going to create the I'm going to create the interface management profile. Can you see the network profile over here? Under the network profile I have the interface management, and under this I have, let's say I want to create the LAN underscore profile, and here I would select a service as a ping. For example, I'll create a different profile. So I'll create WAN underscore profile, and I would select only a ping as of now. Later on, based on our requirement, we can allocate the multiple services as per our requirement. I'm not going to apply a single profile to multiple interfaces. Can I? Yes. Should I? No.
So, Telnet and HTTP SSH are by default for each profile.
Did you say it's a default?
Yeah, I'm asking. Yeah, like
we don't have. Okay. By default, any services are not there. Okay. What we need to do as per our requirement, we'll create a profile and we'll assign the services, and those services, that particular profile, when you apply to the interface, it will get applied. So only at the management interface, 3 services are by default there: SSH, ping, and HTTPS. Okay.
So for remaining interface,
yes,
they're all same. So
these profiles we are creating for the data interface, not for the management interface.
Okay, so Palo Alto will treat them 3 as same level interfaces, not like ASA where inside, outside, and DMZ are.
Yes, since first class we are discussing, it's a zone-based firewall, right? It's not a policy-based firewall.
It's not what?
Policy-based firewall.
Yeah. Okay.
On ASA firewall, you have pre-existing policies which allows the traffic, right? But here we don't have such kind of things. We have a predefined implicit rule to deny the traffic between the 2 zones and within a zone, means intrazone and the interzone. Okay, we created the separate profiles, and these profiles we are going to assign it to the interface. So basically, what did we do till now? First we created the tags, right? Then we created addresses. Third, we created L3 zones. Four, we created virtual router. Fifth, we created profile. I mean like interface management profile, right? Sixth, what we're going to do? We'll configure the interfaces. So we'll go to the interface, configure interface. Okay, so let's see, we'll configure the interface. You can write in this order also. Order does not matter, you can create it in any way. Okay, only you need to know how can you configure it. Okay, so let's do it. I'll configure the interfaces now. In the interface configuration, E0/0 will be a LAN zone, right? E0/1 will be WAN zone, and your E0/2 will be DMZ zone. Correct. Let's do this. I have interfaces over here. I'll go to the interface, and here you'll select the which type of interface. You can say L3 interface. I want a virtual router. Can you see here custom RTR? I can directly create from here also. So it's not mandatory that I need to go to the individual and the places and need to create. Here directly you can create. But I just wanted to show you the origin point from where it is getting started. So I'll select the custom RTR. Security zone. Which security zone is this? E1/1. Okay, we started from E1/0 I have given, right? Okay, it's 1/1. Okay, not 1/0. Sorry, 0/0. It's a 1/1. Getting started from 1/1. And it's correct. So it's 1/2 and it's 1/3. Sorry. So this is how we configure the interfaces. Okay, this is for DMZ and this is for WAN. Okay. I hope this is the topology. Let us verify before we continue. E1/3 is WAN. So I hope I have given the 1/3. And 1/2 is the DMZ, right? Okay, fine then. So let's do this one. E1/2 is the DMZ, 1/3 is the WAN. Okay, fine. So let's put the 1/1 as a LAN zone. IPv4 address will add the LAN 1, and the advanced will see the management profile, LAN profile. So this is how you'll attach. Okay, let's configure 1/2. E1/2 is correct. It's a DMZ. So let's select it's a DMZ. Virtual router will use the same virtual router. IPv4. It's a DMZ. Advanced. We'll say DMZ profile. Okay. Custom RTR, same virtual router to all the interfaces, right? So WAN interface, IPv4 is WAN. See the topology properly, and if there is some changes to be done, tell me. Okay, right now what do you see the link status? You see in the gray color, right? Gray color means it's not up. Okay, if it is red means it's down. If it is green, it's up. Gray means it's not at all up. Okay.
What about the tags?
Tag. Tag already we mentioned, right? Wait, you'll come to see. So let's commit these things. Okay, once this is done, can you see the color over here turn to the green? It means your interfaces are active now. It's up. Now we'll put this test PC in the LAN zone. Come to the interfaces. So first interface is the management. Second, we have taken as a LAN. Third interface means it's E1/2, which is DMZ E1/3 as a WAN. So E1/3 means network adapter 4. This is good. I'll put this test PC in the LAN zone. It's in LAN zone. Let's see what is the IP address configured over here. IP config slash. So what is the IP address over here? .6. It is in the same subnet, right? Okay, let us ping the gateway. I should be able to ping. So I would say ping 10.11.11.10. Getting reply? Okay. We'll take a DMZ router, and in the DMZ router, we'll put one of the interface into the DMZ zone. It's in DMZ zone. E1 slash the second adapter, it's a E1 interface. So IP interface brief. I have IP address 192.168.30.3 already configured. So I don't need to worry. So simply test your gateway 192.168.30.10. Correct. Is it reachable? Fine. So what did we test, guys? Our LAN zone and DMZ zone are working fine. Also check. So IP route. You have a default route towards the DMZ gateway. Till this point, it is fine. Let us check the reachability to the outside from the firewall. What we are going to do now is
WAN zone.
correct. See, from LAN PC, I tested connectivity over here.
Right.
From DMZ server, I tested the connectivity here. And I can make my base PC to act like a WAN PC. Okay, I can test it from my base PC as well.
So basically, your PC is a cloud.
Yes, you can say. Okay, so 172.172.16.3.48. I have some connectivity issue. Can you see my base PC IP address is from the same subnet, right? 172.16.3.186. So I should be able to ping this WAN interface IP. Is there something wrong? So interface all. I can see .48 is the IP address at the WAN interface. Ping.
But Palo Alto is not connected to your PC, right? Or your network. Is that interface?
It is in the WAN zone, right? WAN zone means it will connect to my internet. This is how my lab setup is already done. It will talk to the internet or it will talk to the external devices. Okay, you can say cloud devices. If firewall would be off, then how could we configure it?
I think he mean Windows firewall.
Okay, let me try pinging from the firewall to my PC. say firewall, my Windows firewall would come into picture when I would ping from outside. I mean, like from my firewall, Palo Alto to the my PC. Then it would be outside network. I tried pinging from my base PC from inside to outside interface of the firewall. So that would ping. Okay, take a note of this command. Ping source. My IP address is 172.16.3.48 as a source IP, and I'll try to ping the destination host as a let's say any IP address. 172.16.3.254 is my gateway. 254 is my gateway. I'll try to ping. There is no connectivity at all. Okay, I have one more WAN zone through which I can make the connectivity. I mean, like I have the outside zone. Can you see outside over here? So let me put this, and through this do I have the connectivity? No, I don't have. Let it be in the WAN zone itself. So there might be some issue with the IP address. Either it is conflicting somewhere, okay, the network. So I'll do one thing. Uh, okay, I'm getting the connectivity now, right? Started pinging. So there might be some connectivity issues. It got resolved. Now can you see I'm able to reach from my base PC acting like a outside PC, okay?
Yeah, you
Or
did not
else,
change anything, right, Sushil?
sorry,
You did not change anything, right? It's working on its own.
yeah, I just took the other VLAN and again I assigned to the same VLAN. I didn't do any change. Okay, so let's say I started pinging from my firewall also to the internal gateway through which I can go for the internet.
So now let us, can you ping from inside to outside to DMZ as well,
Or,
since you did not put any policies?
but there was certain announcement. Okay. Okay, so I got the connectivity at the outside segment, right? Okay, so some of you were asking the question to make a connectivity from the inside to outside, right? I hope that's the thing that you were telling. What was your query? Hello.
So since we did not create any policies or any, so just the zones, can we ping by default all those zones like from DMZ to LAN, from LAN to inside, yeah, I mean WAN?
What is the current situation? What am I doing right now? I'm pinging to the firewall, right?
Right, right,
I'm not pinging through the firewall, right?
right.
So through the firewall, what I have told, you can't. You cannot,
Okay,
because you cannot go for anything. That's a default implicit rule that will deny the access between the zones. It can be any zone. So let's
okay,
say, for example, on the DMZ router, we already have the route. See here, we have a default route. And coming to the test PC, on the test PC, I already mentioned the default route. Can you see default route over here? DHCP with a default route as a .10. So there is no routing issue. I'll try pinging. Ping 10.11.11.10.11 sorry 10.11 dot, yeah, let's say 10. I'll ping my gateway, it's reachable. I'll try to ping from one zone to another zone, 192.168, ping 192.168.10 dot, sorry, 30.3. Ping from one zone to another zone. Are you able to ping? No. Dot 10. Are you able to ping? No, you are not able to ping. Is this clear to everyone? So from one zone to another zone, do I have the connectivity? No, I don't have. So between the LAN zone and between the LAN zone and DMZ zone, I don't require the translation also, right? They are the two private networks and they can communicate from one zone to another zone. So is that clear to everyone?
Yes, Cecil. It got
Only ICMP2 traffics. I mean, like for the LAN zone, WAN zone, and DMZ zone, what service did we apply? ICMP. If you want to check like whether your, all the services are depending on this management profile only, or if there is something else. So what we can do, we'll go to the interface. Under the advanced tab, we had assigned the LAN profile, right? I'll uncheck this. So do you see the management profile applied here? No. So none of the services are present at the LAN. Okay. Now let's go to the test PC and I'll try pinging your LAN zone gateway. Are you able to ping? It means, are there any services by default at the data interfaces? No, nothing. As I explained you in the beginning, in the theoretical part, what did I tell you? None of the services are available at the data interfaces by default. Only at the management three services are available. So I hope it's clear to everyone now. Right now, you try to get an access for HTTPS at the LAN interface. Will you get the HTTPS access? You can, right? Or no? Yes or no? On LAN interface? No. Just testing you guys. Okay. So 10.11.11.10. See, nothing is there. You don't have HTTPS, you don't have ICMP, you don't have SSH, anything you don't have. Now, let's say your requirement is at the LAN interface, I need HTTPS plus I need ping. And all the other interfaces, I need only a ping. Is it possible? Yes, because we have already designed our configuration in such a way that I have three different profiles. So individually, I can give these services. So first of all, we'll modify under the profile. I'll allocate HTTPS as well. So can you see two services over here at the LAN profile, ping and HTTPS. Come to the interface again, select the E1/1, go to the advanced tab and select the management profile for the LAN. Allocated, say commit. Okay, now let's test it. Which was not working before. Can you see here it's written establishing connection, right? Try pinging now, it's working. Also, you got the access to the GUI, right? So even the data interface can be used as a management purpose, but the management interface cannot be used for the data purpose. I hope this is clear now. Okay, so guys, we completed all this agenda that we had taken the note, right? Okay, so let's move towards the lab 3. So our lab 3 agenda is, we'll add a static route from the WAN interface to any destination. Why we need to add the default route to the WAN interface? I want to communicate to any destination, right? Let's say, for example, at the WAN interface, I'll add a default route. That's actually a static only, right? Statically, you are telling communicate to any destination. Only we use a term as a default. Understand? Okay. So, yes, tell me.
On which side you are adding the static route, on the WAN zone or on the Palo Alto?
On the Palo Alto at the WAN zone. Okay. I'm adding a default route. So basically, I want to reach to any destination. If I don't add a default route over here towards the gateway, then what will happen? The internal networks cannot get an access to the internet to any destination, right? I don't have any destination fixed over here. I don't know the IP addresses of all the Google and the Yahoo, whatever etc sites we are accessing over here. Do we know all the IP addresses? No, we don't know. So I cannot fix the IP address, right? The access might be to any destination, right? So in that case, if I don't give a default route at the WAN interface, then we won't get access to any destination, right? So it's mandatory in the real-time perspective also. They will also use the default route, right? So we need to use a default route. After that, we'll also check the reachability to the DNS. Because without DNS reachability, you won't get the internet access. We'll create the object for this particular subnet, create tags. We already created the tags. This is done. We'll create a source NAT policy. We'll call it as a dynamic IP and port. It's basically a dynamic PAT. In real time, what do we use? Dynamic NAT or PAT? 90% of the time we use a dynamic PAT. We won't go for the dynamic NAT. Now, we'll create the interzone policy between the LAN and WAN zone, and we'll allow this subnet to access the internet. We'll test an internet connectivity and connectivity verification from the test PC, translation verification, monitoring session, browser. Okay, so basically all these informations will be testing. After that, we'll see denying an access for the particular host or something like that. Okay, so let's do it. So coming to the firewall CLI, I'll try to ping. If I say ping the destination host as 8.8.8, do you think you have a reachability? Do you think you'll be reaching the internet? No. See guys, I'm giving you two types of syntax. This is one of the syntax. Ping, I'll specify the source, I'll define the source IP, and I'll define the destination host IP. So I'll say host. This command is used to send the traffic from data interface. Write it down. This is the syntax to send the traffic from data interface. If you guys are typing in this way, directly saying ping host 8.8.8, this is sending a traffic from control plane. Though you have configured a default route, anything else you have done, you will not get the connectivity if you type the command in this way. It will send the traffic to the control plane. It means to the management interface. But you want to test the connectivity from the data interface, right? WAN interface is your data interface. So how should you type? So you need to specify the source and you need to specify host, destination host. If you don't specify a source interface or source IP, it means the traffic will be within a control plane, not at the data interface. Okay, I'll try a testing. I'll try a connectivity to my server. Are you reaching to the internet? Why? I don't have a route. I don't have a default route towards the outside. Within a subnet, I can communicate. Within a same subnet, my destination is my gateway. Within a subnet, I can communicate, but I don't have a route to communicate to other subnet. Yes, tell me.
Okay, so understood. This subnet is directly connected, so I'm assuming that any host within that subnet you will be able to reach it.
Correct. Obviously, I don't need a route to communicate within a same subnet, right?
Right.
So let's configure a route. Where do we configure a route? Where do we configure a route? I'm just asking, like we configure a zone, we configure an address. So basically, in which section do we go and add a route? Under the virtual router. Route related stuff will be under the virtual router. Always remember, either it is a dynamic routing protocol, static, or anything else will be related to your virtual router. So which is the virtual router we are using for all the interfaces? So you can see here, right? See, if you'll have the multiple custom virtual routers, you will see what are the interfaces allocated to that particular virtual router. So I can easily identify, right? I can see custom RTR is having 3 interfaces, right? Okay, I'll come to this custom RTR. And here, do you see the option of static? I'll come to static. I have IPv4 and IPv6. Come to IPv4. And here I would say name as a let's say out underscore default, or let's say WAN underscore default. Easy to understand? Okay, here we specify in this way: 0.0.0/0 will be assumed as a any network with any mask. So which interface do we want to use? E1/3. 1/3 is a WAN interface. What is my next hop IP? 172.16.3.254 is my next hop. I would say okay, okay. If I commit the changes.
So you also create same default route for other zones?
If you want, you can.
Okay. Right now we're only trying to reach the DNS of the 8.8.8.8. That's why we are creating default for WAN zone, right?
It's not only about the DNS, it's about the all the destinations that you want to reach.
In WAN.
Correct.
From the control plane.
From the data plane.
Yeah, data plane, sorry.
So let's say, for example, I'm trying to reach, I'm trying to reach 8.8.8. I'm able to reach, right? Let's say I want to reach www.face, let's say if it works.
Maybe the DNS is not resolving that.
So let's give an IP address of your Facebook server, right?
Yeah.
So let's say CMD. I don't know the IP address of Facebook, right? I would say ping, and I would say fb.com. What is the IP address? 150 dot, take a note, 157, right? 240.13.35. If I try to ping the host, 157.240.30.35.
13.35.
13.35, right? Okay, 13.35. Do you say I have a reachability? So what did you understand in this configuration? I don't know the destination IP, right? My destination IPs are unknown, so I can reach to any destination. So I should have a default route at the WAN zone to reach any destination. So currently, from the WAN to any destination, I have the connectivity. Correct?
Okay.
Okay. Now, why we are differentiate here between data plane and the control plane for ping. I mean, what required here? Control plane is a separate plane. Data plane is a separate plane. So at the control plane, we have the certain services only, and at the at the data plane we don't have any services. So if you want to use any services, then you apply the service. If you don't want to use the service, you don't use. Not required, right? It's not mandatory. Let's say, for example, I applied the service here as a ping and HTTPS. Now let's say you don't want to check the connectivity here. You want to connect. You want to make a connectivity between the two zones. You are not concerned about the gateway connectivity. It's your choice, right? You just create the policy between the two zones, make a connectivity. That's it. Why do I need to apply any policies? See, this policy which you apply at the interface is not depending for any traffic that you communicate through the firewall. That is not a dependent for the through traffics. Let's say, for example, these two private zones, if I create the policy, they should communicate, right? Right now we don't have a policy. Okay, let's jump into the next step that we will do right now. So let's say, for example, we'll go to the policies, and under the policy, I'll come to the security policy. We call it as a security policy. So under the security policy, we already have this implicit rule, which I have already explained you. So let me add a policy by saying, hey, I want to go from LAN zone to WAN zone. See, this is the place where tag will help you. LAN and, sorry, I will go for LAN to DMZ, not the WAN. LAN to DMZ. So I selected LAN and DMZ. See, tag is helpful for over here. Okay. Now what is the source zone, guys? LAN zone. LAN source. Let it be LAN source as a anyone. I can mention the WAN IP, or else I can say, hey, communicate with any source. Any user. I don't have a user as of now. Destination which zone? DMZ zone. DMZ zone which destination IP? I can directly assign the IP also. Okay. Or else I can create an object. I can say address DMZ underscore server underscore IP. What is the IP? 192.168.30.3 is the server IP, right? I would say you can create the different tag for the servers. Means tagging is all about having the different colors, right? I want to allow all the applications. I want to allow all the application related services, and I want to permit action as a allow. Now I created the rule between LAN and DMZ. I would say commit.
So since LAN is the source, it is showing on the top and the tag section, right? That's how you have to interpret it.
Don't interpret based on the tags sequence. You need to see what is your source zone. This is the LAN source zone. What is the destination zone? It's a DMZ. Okay. You need to check over here. Okay.
Can you double click on DMZ server IP? Okay, anything is fine. I just want to see how the IP addresses are configured.
No, this is just an object, right? Basically, what I did, I created indirectly the object. That's what I was explaining you. See here, this is a DMZ server IP, right? So anywhere you create the object, it will come under the object and the address itself. So can you see here, 192.168.30.3 I created, right? I created doing the configuration of policy, but the main source means the main location of that object will be under the object and the address.
Okay, .10.48.
So let's commit. We committed already. Now, here guys, see here properly. I'm into the test PC. From here, I'll try to ping a DMZ server. Can I ping? Reachable, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I can also communicate my gateway. Both are reachable. So you might have the confusion, or you might have a mindset like, I applied an interface management profile. That is only the reason why I'm able to communicate from LAN zone to WAN zone, for example. But that is not a condition. If I go to the interface, if I remove the management profile also, I said none over here. See, I removed the management profile. I'll commit it.
For the LAN interface.
For the LAN interface. Okay. One is enough to test, right? I'll go to the test PC. I'll try communicating my gateway. Am I able to communicate now? No. But if I try to communicate through the firewall based on my security policy, am I able to communicate? Yes. So is there any relation between the interface profile and the the security policy? No, those are the two different things.
You're able to ping DMZ interface. 30.3 is the DMZ interface.
30.10 30.10 will be the DMZ interface, right?
30.3 is the router interface in the DMZ.
Correct.
How you're able to reach it? We did not set any profile, right?
Is it?
Yeah.
Right now, what did I do?
Just remove the LAN profile
Is it?
management.
Before that, I haven't done anything. I didn't create this policy between the LAN and DMZ.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, LAN and DMZ, correct. Yeah, I was assuming it's LAN and WAN. Sorry.
This is LAN and DMZ. I created the policy, right? So
Right.
between the two zones, I created the policy and I allowed it all the applications, right? See, coming to the application details, can you see any application? Under the any, everything comes, right? ICMP also comes, Telnet, SSH, HTTP, HTTPS, everything comes. So all the applications are allowed it. There is no limitation. Now, is your policy working? Yes, I can see the head count over here. Can you see the head count on the policy? This will help you to understand your policy is working fine. Your traffic is passing from one zone to another zone. If traffic will not pass, there won't be an increment in the head count.
Right. So when you remove the LAN profile, you are not able to ping the DMZ interface on the firewall, right?
DMZ interface or LAN interface?
The DMZ interface on the firewall side. If you go to the command line again, yeah. So .3 you were not able to ping.
No, I was just showing you. Okay. .3 is my DMZ router interface, right?
Yes, correct.
This is my DMZ router interface. This is communicating due to the security policy rule, not to the management profile. Now, earlier I was able to ping 10.11.11.10. This is not pinging. Why? Because we removed the interface management profile. Interface management profile means the services that we had enabled at the LAN interface, we have removed it. Right.
Okay.
So
and also you're not able to ping the .10 IP address as well in DMZ.
That is a separate zone, right? That is a DMZ zone. So right now I'm concerned about my gateway, right?
Okay. Understood. So you are not able to ping your gateway, but still the DMZ interface on the router because of the policies that are enabled.
So I hope it's clear. Like, what is the difference between, Abhishek, is it clear now? The difference between the management profile and the security policy. Okay, so we also checked DNS reachability. Sorry. I could create the object for this subnet also, right? Instead of creating an object, I created the object for the DMZ server. So the same way you can create the object for anything. Now, I need to communicate from inside to outside via firewall. So basically you're trying to communicate from private to public. Till firewall you have the connectivity to the internet, right? Means from firewall I have the connectivity to the internet.
Yes.
But if you try to come from inside to outside, do you think you will be able to communicate?
No, we did not put the policies yet.
Okay, let's set the policy. So policy would be LAN underscore WAN. You can define the interzone. Let's say I want to communicate from LAN zone to WAN zone. See guys, here you have how many types of, the communication rule type. You have a universal, you have the intrazone and the interzone. You have three types of the rule type. Rule type in the sense you can differentiate. The rule should be created between the interzone, intrazone, or within global policy. Global policy means what? Universal. Means any zone to any zone. So basically when you are creating a rule between any source to any destination, so in that condition you would give a universal. Now let's say for example the rule which I created here you can see the type is given as a universal, but though I gave the type as a universal, but I limited the source zone, right? I limited the destination zone. So basically this rule is not universal, but the universal rule would not make any effect. Universal means it is giving access to everyone, but instead of saying any, did I say any over here? No, I said LAN. So it does not make any effect. But if you see, let's say for example, to know it's a interzone policy or intrazone policy or universal policy, it's better to assign a particular rule type. Okay. So let's say for example, if I say interzone, means I'll say okay, it's an interzone policy between LAN underscore WAN, and I would give the tag over here. Source is LAN, destination is WAN. My source zone is a LAN zone. Okay, and from the LAN zone, my source IP address could be anything, or else if you want to define the subnet, as I was explaining in my document, let's say LAN underscore subnet. What is my LAN subnet? 10.11.11. It's 11.0/24. I would say LAN subnet. For LAN subnet, I'm putting the tag over here, and I would define the destination zone. So for the destination zone, which zone? WAN zone. WAN destination any, right? I cannot specify the particular, hey, only Facebook server. I'll take the IP address and I can allocate it. It's not like that, right? I have multiple destinations. Application might be any application as of now. When we'll come to the application filtering section, at that time I'll show you the importance of application filtering. Services and action. Say okay, commit it, commit the changes. So we made the changes. We'll come to the test PC. I'll try to communicate to the internet. So I would communicate. See, here I have given the DNS server IP. Can you see 8.8.8? I mentioned the DNS server IP. I want to check a reachability to my DNS server. 8.8.8.8. Am I able to communicate? No. Now what might be the reason? You told there is no policy, I created policy. Now what
you need a route again, default route.
Why would I need a default route again? Already I have a default route from the LAN zone.
Right.
Already I have a default route at the WAN interface. So the issue is translation. Good. So basically you are not able to go from the private network. I mean, like, see, the packet is coming here. Packet is being forwarded to the internet also. But while getting a reply, the packet is coming for the private destination. So packet is being dropped by whom? By the ISP. So your private IP should get translated to the public IP in order to get a reply. So we have an issue with the private to public communication. So this is your issue right now. The current issue is not with the rule. It's not the problem with the policy. It's a problem with your translation. We don't have a translation so that your private IP will be, communicating with your internet. So you need to translate. So what is the solution you need to do? Source net, source translation. In a source translation, how many ways you can translate it? You can do a dynamic IP, which is also known as dynamic NAT. On Palo Alto, we have a different term. Dynamic NAT is known as dynamic IP. Okay. Dynamic IP and port is known as dynamic PAT.
Okay.
So don't get confused. So I can configure a dynamic IP, but dynamic IP would not be the solution for all the users, right? Dynamic IP means what? You'll define the pool or you'll define the subnet. Means if I define /24, okay, /24 to any subnet, it means how many valid IP addresses? 254 valid IP addresses. Are you guys going to purchase a 254 public addresses? No. Right? So in a real time, dynamic NAT is not the scalable solution. We are going to use a dynamic PAT, which is known as a dynamic IP and port. So tomorrow we are going to see details about the dynamic IP and port. Yes.
So Sushil, can I ask you a question, or is it are you done?
Yeah, please tell me.
Yeah, so Sushil, we are trying to translate. Can you go to the diagram again? So we are trying to translate LAN subnet 10.11.11.0/24 into 172.16.3. some pool or some IP address from that WAN zone pool, right?
Correct.
And your internet modem will assume that it is from it assigned internet, and it will assign the public IP.
Yes, the .48 what we have taken the IP address at the WAN interface, right? We'll assume it as a WAN IP. I mean, like it will assume it as a public IP. Okay.
You are not translating into a public IP directly connecting it to internet, right? 172.16 is the private IP. That subnet is assumed by, that is understood by the modem, internet modem, and
Correct.
it will convert into the public IP assigned by the ISP, right?
Correct. So here the thing is, it's like home network over here. I have the router over here, which is connected with the ISP. So if you guys want to see what is my IP, what is my public IP, you can say like this. Say my public IP. So my today's public IP, what I'm using is, this is my public IP to which I have got the internet access. You understood? I can use this public IP directly, but this public IP directly where it is used as of now, it's on the router.
Yeah, so your router will do the translation again on its own.
Yes, correct. So right now we are not assuming that public IP what I have shown you right now. That is not our public IP. We assume the router IP we get from the router. That's our internet accessible IP, right? So as of now, forget about the router translation. Understand about what translation we are going to do here. So in a real time, you'll have the public IP directly configured over here. Okay, you'll not have any router in between. You understand? Okay, so more discussions tomorrow. Let's do it. So we are done, guys. Brush up your concept regarding the translation.